My other stuff logged in. We will get this puppy cooking, I promise.
ISI Tuesday game on.
One moment, please. Got to get my teleprompter working. This is like the craziest day happening for me.
That's like your normal boring, uneventful days.
Yeah, that's crazy because we have this, and then I got to jump on with Brian. He already started his world. Just started with doing business with CMS, so that's crazy. Working on that, and then you see about sharing my screen here. How is everybody doing today? Sally, why don't you tell everybody what they should be doing right this minute as they come in?
Good morning, everyone. So this is our wonderful meeting. We're so happy to have you here. And what we'd love for you to do is go to the chat. And I'm going to give you an example. In the chat, we want you to introduce yourself. I'm Sally, and I'm going to put my information in the chat. How you can reach me, what I do. Feel free to weigh in and let people know where you're dialing in from. I'm going to share this with everyone. Here we go.
Hey, Sally,
there you go.
maybe it's my computer, but you're coming across to me a little muffled.
You are a little muffled today. Stop being muffleized.
All right, let me pull my microphone up. Is that better?
I don't know yet. You haven't talked enough.
Oh, good morning. This is Sally.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, that's better.
Now, all right, fantastic.
Microphone closer.
So yeah, so here's what we're going to do. We got a bunch of folks here already. There's already 113. We have a bunch of people coming. So chat, put your information in the chat, put your questions in Q&A. That's what we're going to keep going. Right, Greg Clark?
That's the way we like to separate it. Keep
That's
your questions in the Q&A and keep your company information into the chat. And at the end, Dave, your team is going to send to everybody who's in attendance the transcript of the chat and the slide deck. And
correct. And that's exactly right.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. Real quick, I'm Dave Lowe. I'm the CEO of ISI Federal, and we do data marketing and business development. We're going to feature a couple of products today and some services that we do to help you be able to connect with key decision makers and win federal government stuff. A little bit about ISI Federal. We've been since 2009. We just passed our 12-year mark, so we're a 12-year overnight success apparently. But you can see the things that we do on the right-hand side. We have Market Essentials, which is the intelligence, GovBrief, which is where we push things out to the federal government, as well as industry like you. And Sam.bid with AMP is online, and that is for monitoring sam.gov, as well as opportunities, as well as awards. So very cool. Quick Fuse monitors GSA eBuy and sends it directly to your email, just like Sam.bid does. And we also do marketing for GSA Direct to help you get your products and services in front of the government. This gets you smart. This gets you out in front of stakeholders. This one lets you know that everything is happening. And you can sign up at www.sam.bid, and you get 7 days where you can try that out. This also monitors GSA eBuy. I forgot I had all these little things here. It just tells you what my day's like. Quick Fuse is QUIKFUSE.com. So you can sign up and test drive that for 30 days. So if you have only for GSA contract holders, that's only for you guys. And if you stay for a year and you don't get 500% more than you spent on Quick Fuse, we will refund 100% of your money that you paid to Quick Fuse. So we've never had to refund anything. So there you have it. Raphael, I don't think Raphael is going to be with us today. There's a couple things happening, but we will feature some of the things that he does for preparation. As part of that, RaphaelMarrero.com is down in South Florida, along with you, Greg Clark.
I was hoping you weren't going to put a Santa hat on there.
I know. Where's your Santa hat, Greg?
We really got to update this picture too, Dave.
Hey, man. Well, I have the new one, but I wasn't sure if you wanted that one or not. So we can do that.
This is 12 years younger, but I'm 20 pounds heavier in that picture.
That's it.
Very healthy.
So DK, what we do is we help companies identify, evaluate, and put their proposals together in response to government RFPs. And we help companies get on the GSA schedule. To date, we've helped our clients win 392 government contracts with a combined value that this summer went over 2 billion.
Billion to billion.
2 billion. And we've also helped about 425 companies get on the GSA schedule. So those are our two main service areas, and everything else we do is in support of them.
Yep. Fantastic. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that in about 2 hours, where you and I are going to be. This is one of the reasons why my life today is insane. I'm going to be with you at 1 p.m., right, Greg?
That's right.
And if
with
you want to know,
and the updated picture in this one.
See that? You got the updated picture, right? That's it. That's where that was a wedding picture or something, wasn't it?
That's in my backyard.
In your backyard.
In a pair of basketball shorts.
You were
and
all right. That there you go. Very good. Now everybody knows. So yeah, we will be with you if you would like to do that. We're down to just a few tickets right now. So you got to go to GovBrief, www.govbrief.us, and you can sign up for that if you want to. And with us today, we have Sally White with Echo Wolf Solutions. Tell us about you, Miss White.
Morning. First of all, did you is that the same Santa hat you have on everyone? Are you cleaning it between usages and everything?
Look, what do you want from me? What do you want from me?
Anyway, so happy to see all of you. I'm Sally White, and I basically assist you in aligning your digital footprint, your website, your LinkedIn, your social media, your branding, to make sure it represents your incredible, valuable products and services. And I also connect you with executives to make sure that when you work with David and his team, that you know senior level people who are making decisions or influencers in the organization in which you are working. Happy to be here and from Cold Park City. Thank you so much. And I put my information in the chat.
Yeah, and everybody else, put your information in the chat. Questions, Q&A, but put your information in the chat. I'm doing a better job at that, Sally, aren't I?
You're doing a great job, Dave.
I'll tell you what.
High five.
All right. There you go. And with us also, we have Peter Timbus.
Wow.
Where are you? You're welcome, buddy. You are welcome.
Thanks.
So TFN Action Capital, tell us what you do.
We're an alternative lender. We've been doing it for the last 30 years. We've become a trusted financial resource for companies. And the nice thing about what we do is we're going to look more to your client, who's going to be paying us, versus personally at the credit of the company and the individual. Last year, we did $1.5 billion.
Woo, that's it. Wait a minute, billion.
1.5 billion last year in client fundings. So we're very good. We process very quickly. We have an excellent reputation. And we're in Florida, Atlanta, DC, and Boston.
Fantastic. And one of the things that you do is you lend to the opportunity, which means that you can help them actually kind of reinforce the fact that they're financially stable, right?
In fact, if there's a client out there who gets a first contract, and let's say it's service related, and they have 50 people and they've got a payroll in 2 weeks, that's 200,000, but they're not going to invoice their client at the beginning of the following month, we will advance that payroll up front. Very powerful. Very powerful.
And we sent folks over to you because we win things and then they have to fund it, which is exactly why you're here. We love it. So a little bit about this session, just in case, just so you know, we didn't leave anybody else out. The whole Capitol Dome is covered. So there you go. So about this session, it is always free. We have over 2,900 folks registered. There's 187 here right this minute, which is fantastic. Every second Tuesday, so you can come as many times as you want. It's fine with me. Dialogue with federal experts like Greg and Sally and Peter and Raphael, who is not here today, but just keep him in your prayers and his words. So there you go. Be real about how things work. We're not going to blow sunshine here. I'm telling you, there's a lot of folks that are going to say there's a lot of money. And we will say there's a lot of money. We just get real about how you get it. So winning strategies, and we are going to show off ISI Federal and the folks that are here today, because that's what we're going to do, because remember what you paid. So if you're after opportunities, reaching federal stakeholders, or anybody else that's touching the government universe, you are in the right place because that's what we do. Quick disclaimer, this is not endorsed by GSA. And if we have any folks here from the government, it is for informational purposes only. And if they participate, which means we would love to have them participate, any engagement by government personnel is not an endorsement to buy from you, me, or anybody else here. How about that? If you'd like to participate, we've been talking about this already, and 61 people have listened. And that is, you can chat your information. Tell us who you are, where you're with, who you're with, as well as your contact information. If you got your LinkedIn stuff, all that stuff, we're going to distribute this to everybody else because we want to start the process for you. If it's your first time or your 15th time, doesn't matter to me. We want to make sure that we get your information out there so that you can be working with each other and together. And if you've been living under a rock and you have no idea how Zoom works, you can go up into that piece up top and you can do side by side. You can make us bigger or smaller and you can get what you would like. And I'm hoping that somebody on my team is going to now put this link into the chat, which includes the winnable opportunity matrix, some propaganda from ISI Federal, as well as the procurement readiness document from VA, very good information. And the 90-second challenge, we are going to talk about that in just a minute, because if you take this challenge, it's going to change the way that you think about the federal world. So tell us, why in the world did you guys decide to show up here today? Is it because you're new to federal contracting? You have federal contracts as a sub and you want to grow and go direct? Or how about you have prime contracts and you want to grow? Or some crazy nut sent you an email? Somebody's got to pick that bad boy. And you can choose as many as you want, as a matter of fact. So probably a lot of people are going to talk about the nut who sent them an email. And I'll just give you an idea who that is. Yours truly. All right. So real quick, while we're talking, we have a $3.5 trillion 2022 budget or something like that. We're not really sure exactly what it's going to be because it hasn't quite been finalized yet. But no matter what, we are in the middle of Q1. And Q1, they're talking a lot about this big word up at the top, infrastructure. And so we're going to be talking a lot about infrastructure over the course of the next year, because we've been expecting this for now 5 years, right? The Trump administration came in, infrastructure, and finally it looks like it's starting to take hold. And that is not just building out roads and bridges. It's also going into the infrastructure of IT systems. So we want to make sure we do that. I'm going to end this poll. We have 112 people that answered. And there's a lot of, look at this, Sally, a lot of folks here are new to federal contracting. You believe that?
I do. It's amazing. Welcome.
That is fantastic. You are in the right place. I'll tell you that right now. Let me get rid of that from there. And as far as we're going to talk about infrastructure. So I know, Sally, you and I are going to be talking about this coming up. We're going to break this out into multiple segments of working through GovBrief, because we want to make sure folks know how to tap into that infrastructure money. Some of that's going to go direct from the federal government, right?
Absolutely. It's very, very exciting, the infrastructure, and we've been reading up on it. There's a lot of opportunity for all of us, and they differentiate it and they segment it by solutions. And so we really want to be able to help you tap into those dollars. It's very exciting. Yep.
And some of those are going to be on grants that flow through states.
Correct.
And so it's going to expand things a lot. So if anybody is interested in infrastructure or any of the other components, I'm gonna let you know that you can ask. We're going to ask Sally what you'd like from Sally. And Sally, please help me. You help with LinkedIn and engagement message, right? It's real important to get your engagement message or something else.
Branding, yep, engagement, branding, LinkedIn, digital footprint. Make sure your website is ready to receive when you have someone from the government looking at it. You want to make sure you have your capability statement, et cetera, so that you look ready and prepared.
Yep. And that's real important. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, about capability statements and the most important things. So if you think about what happens with the first impression, how important is the first impression for anybody, but especially with contracting officers?
So important. It's absolutely very important that you sound professional, you sound experienced. The last thing you want to do is call and say, hi, how do I work with the government? You don't want to do that. You want to say, hi, I'm Sally White. I'm excited to meet you. I have an ACE code. I've past performance, and I'm really excited to engage on how I can be of service to you. So you want to sound confident, I can help you with that messaging and your dialogue so you sound ready to rock.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So I'm going to leave that open for just a minute. I'm going to talk about what happens, and this is probably a little bit out of date but it's close. So if you look at how sales happen, right? If you look, it's kind of cold right now because we're living in continuing resolution, also known as CR, right? For the folks that are new. And I'll close this out so that it disappears for everybody, I think. And then this is the best time. So sales happen when things kind of warm up. We're actually seeing more activity right now than we've ever seen at this time of year, as it seems like there's a lot of energy built up around either stuff that wasn't awarded back in September. It's just a lot of activity. We were talking about in our Monday roundtables yesterday about this, and we're seeing this actually starting a little bit earlier than usual, when we usually see it starting in February and March, where you see this little bump. And then finally, you see a huge spike in September, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this all revolves around when a good time is to get in front of people. And that message we were just talking about with Sally, making sure that you're delivering that message to the key stakeholders. We'll talk about those in just a minute. And spending your time in business development while it's cold. They're not spending a lot of money right this minute, but it's coming and you need to position yourself for it. And what does that mean? That means preparing. And Sally just mentioned part of that is the preparation of that. And that's what gets you into, and I'm going to run through all these real quick. Marketing, doing your introductions, follow-up, working referrals, follow-up. You see all the follow-up there, educating your customer, providing sample scopes of work. Yes, you can do that here. And then finally submitting proposals, which is what Greg does, and responding to those RFPs again. So that's what you look like. So with the sales development, here you have business development, then you have sales that are happening in those little spots. Here's what September actually looks like. This is from many years ago. This is one of my poster children of business development, is with MCOR. You can see they started. There's a little blip in 1999. It's kind of running along, and then there's a blip, and then boom, look at all these spikes. All of those spikes are in September. And MCOR does facilities management. So they're buying facilities management, and you take a look, it kind of compounds on itself because they're 5-year deals that are happening in September, which means they get recompeted every September. And that's why we see these spikes in most industries. You're going to find that in September. Here's the other thing. No business development, no sales. Mind blowing, right? Because if you're not doing what you have to do right now, you're going to find yourself with no sales at the end. So we're going to talk about preparation. And hold on one second. I need to fix. I'm not even going to do it. There's a spelling error on this. If anybody sees a spelling error, know that I just saw it on the preview. Are you ready? As opposed to racy. There you go. Shows you what happens when I have 3 briefings to deal with in one day. And Rafael Marrero is one of my best buds. He's down in Florida. He was referring us business before we even knew him. And then we got involved with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and we've been working on projects together ever since. He's a great guy. He helps with socioeconomic certifications. If you're wondering what those are 8As, right? Those are minority businesses that qualify for 8As. Hub Zone, which means historically underutilized business zones, service disabled, woman-owned, Department of Transportation on the state level. He's also participating in that. We just deal with the federal piece, but that may play a role in some of the grants that we were just talking about with Sally. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to Rafael. The other thing that he does very, very well is helping to create your capability statement and your marketing materials. He has a couple of things here a couple of folks here that I want to take note of. These folks are all his clients, 8As. A lot of these are 8As that he helped them obtain their 8As, and you can see the kind of growth that they had, and all of them wound up on the Inc. 5,000, if not the Inc. 500. So that's very cool. And if you would like any help with this, we'll make sure that you get your time with Raphael since he's not here. You need to pimp my SAM record. Love that one. So say your SAM record, if you're familiar with that, you probably registered with SAM already, but if not, you want to make sure that your SAM record is tight and you need a rocking capability. Everybody needs one of these, as well as talking about socioeconomic certifications or something else. Make sure that you fill that out, and we will get Raphael on and his team on that as soon as possible. So if you fill that out, you will get some information from Raphael. And the next guy up that I want to talk about is Greg Clark, because if you are going to do business with the government, you should at least consider something called a GSA schedule. So what in the world is a GSA schedule or contract, Greg Clark?
So the GSA schedule is a tool the government built several decades ago to allow them to purchase the products and services they need quicker, easier, and less expensively. So currently there, what is it, Dave, about 20,000 companies or so that are on the schedule?
It's about 15, actually.
The government buys, of their total budget, the government spends about $30 billion directly with these companies every year. So you apply to get listed. Once you're approved, you're listed with other companies who offer the same similar offerings to what you offer. And you're approved for a period of 5 years with 3 5-year options. And at the end of 20 years, you reapply.
And what are some of the challenges with getting a GSA contract, or what are the minimum requirements and things like that?
You have to be in business at least 2 years. You have to demonstrate a history of selling whatever it is that you're offering. You have to substantiate what you charge. Am I getting frozen up there?
It looks like it. So you gotta stop everybody in your house from streaming stuff.
So I don't know where I left off, but at least 2 years in business, and you have to provide invoices to show what you charge for your products and services.
Yep, and I think that's one of the things is making sure that you can substantiate that.
Right.
And I highly recommend that you do your research on who the GSA contract holders are, and go with. And a lot of folks go in on the bottom price, right? You can always give discounts on the price. You can always change prices. You can always have lost leaders. But I always recommend keeping your pricing reasonable, because we're in the middle of an inflation, right? Everybody, I don't know, an inflation or inflation. I don't know how you say that. Anyhow, everything is inflating. So as a result, that's going to include what's happening in your world too. So you need to have some wiggle room. And the GSA, their job is to what? Greg?
Well, they want to try to get your prices as low as possible for what your
right.
GSA price is going to be, and typically it's about a 5 or 10% discount off of what you show in your invoices of what your labor rates are, or your product pricing is, whatever it is that you're offering. But yeah, you want to keep that. You don't want to discount it too much, because you want to have some room to be aggressive if a particularly important piece of business comes out that you want to go after. You can get aggressive and go down. But if you discount it already so much, you can't. You have no place to go.
Yeah, and you don't have to give up the 5 or 10%. They'll come back and say we need 5 or 10%. You can go back. Well, I'll give you 0.5% or 0.75% or 1%. A lot of times they'll take it. You just have to justify it. You have to be able to say, listen, our margins are thin on this. And there's a lot wrapped up in pricing to make sure that you don't get yourself in trouble. So, and I know, Greg, you guys work on that, and that gives you access to RFPs, RFIs, and RFQs, right?
Indeed. Once you're approved, you get an account in eBuy, and agencies are going to send RFQs directly to you because of what you've been approved to offer.
Correct. And so, and we'll get to some questions. It looks like that created some questions. And while we're answering that, who needs help from Greg? Do you need help with the GSA schedule, current proposal, future proposal, get your past performance in order? We talked about that towards the end of last year, because you always want to make sure you have your past performance ready so that you can submit it, right?
Sally, can you jump on those questions? I'm afraid to open up anything else.
I'm open up. I got it.
Okay.
Are there any set asides for ED, WS, WOSB, and IT? I'm not sure about the ED part because ED, economically disadvantaged, applies to specific NAICS codes. It's possible. I haven't looked at them, but there's always set asides in IT for women-owned businesses, period. So got that one done. Harold, Peter, if I want a job in New York for a New York office, general service, we were able to sub to contractors. The total deal size is 55 million. Our portion will be 3.5 million over 5 years. We have 3 to 4 resources on the project. I'm looking for a line of credit of $450,000 to support the first 2 months of wages. Peter, I think you need to talk to Harold about that, don't you?
We could react very quickly to you, Harold.
Harold, I'll put Peter's contact information in the chat. And Harold, if you want to send a private IM to Peter in the chat, and the two of you can connect.
Yep. And we'll make sure we get that. Harold, you put your phone number in there already, so we'll make sure that Peter gets that. Fantastic. All right, somebody had their hand raised. I saw that. Ann Sutton. Ann Sutton, are you there? I'm going to ask you to unmute. Let me see if that works. You there, Ann? Not sure, Ann. We'll see. And Daniel Hall's got here we go. Daniel, you there? And Ronald. Hey, Daniel. Tell us about you.
So Objectivity has been in business for about 30 years. We do have a GSA schedule. We build a massively scalable object database, which is kind of a weird product, but people in the defense intelligence area, they love us, and we're looking to grow our business significantly.
Fantastic. So do you have a question, or you just want to let everybody know who you are?
I just want to let people know who we are. I was clicking buttons here, and there was a little icon down there with a hand on it. It's like I clicked it. Sorry. That's
all good. If you had a question, first of all, everybody knows that Daniel Hall does what was the type of database?
Objectivity. So it's basically people building data fusion systems use our technology a lot.
Man, we probably need a dose of what a data fusion system is, or if you don't know what that is, you probably don't use you. Is that what it is?
D Hall at Objectivity. We can have a long chat.
Sounds great. Make sure you put it in the chat as well. Great to meet you, Daniel. Awesome. And then we have Rob. Hold on one sec. Rob, I'm asking you let me get you unmuted. Are you there, Rob?
There we go. Can you hear me?
So tell us about you, Rob. How do you say your last name, by the way? I'm not even going to try.
It's Rakoff.
Rakoff. Yep. All right. I can say that now that I heard it.
So
tell us about you.
I work for Darby Dental Supply, and we had a GSA contract and then just weren't very successful with it. And we found ourselves, we are other than small. And so
congratulations.
What's that?
Congratulations. So that means you're bigger.
Yeah, except for when we look at GSA stuff, especially bids in our particular area, we tend to see tons of set-asides, and the stuff that's not set-asides, I feel like it maybe is going to prime vendors. So there's this market niche in between those two things where we're at, where it seems, and I've got visibility to what sort of pricing is being done in our product categories, and it's much higher than what we would offer. But it's because it's set aside. They're picking the set aside business regardless of price. So how do you become competitive if you're not a prime vendor and you're not a set aside eligible business?
So great question. So for everybody else here, what's happened is Ron's company's grown larger than small, right? And as a result of that, you cannot compete directly for the small business categories or any of the socioeconomic categories that things are being released under. And they're pushing this again. This is fantastic, by the way. We're hearing this. We've heard this again on Monday. We've heard of folks that are doing this. So my recommendation is always teaming. I mean, half is better than nothing, right? Or 49% is better than nothing. And JVs, right? So if you're doing JVs, mentor protege programs, we can talk about this before everybody else goes into a coma from the words I'm using. But the idea is you can joint venture with folks. And what do you do?
We dental supplies.
Dental supplies. All right. So if anybody here does dental and medical supplies, it's a small business. And I mean, there's a bunch of them out there, right, Rob? You probably see them, right? You're probably going to want to start creating, as you need as part of your subcontracting plan anyway, if you win something, to be teaming with those folks, but start generating good relationships with people that you like, because you're now going to be doing business together, and they may be the prime in some instances. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's a bit of a challenge, you know, as far as there's some items that it's challenging to do resale with, where you're going through a third party. So we've kind of looked at that, and you know, it's one of those things. It's the writing on the wall that we don't want to read, which is great for small business. I mean, you know, and we certainly know that there's a reason to go ahead and support the more disadvantaged business categories. But unfortunately for us, other than small, a lot of times it's a weird disadvantage, you know, because small business can be considerably more expensive and still win the business because there's such a push to get a percentage of the business in that market.
True. And that's a good thing, by the way, for most folks. But I will say this, there's two different ways that I would market. First of all, talk to Greg about getting back on GSA, and then driving business, especially. So a lot of that's going to be credit card, right?
It could be. I mean, we're looking at bid business, but I mean, we can bill it out. I mean, we're good to go there. So we're just looking for any real mechanism in which we can start bringing in real business that makes all the red tape worthwhile. Because the problem obviously is nothing happens quickly, and
you're kidding me.
You get a cost increase. You get a cost increase from your manufacturer, and you know, if the cost increase isn't commensurate with the retail price increase, and then if your contracting officer doesn't want to help you out, then you know, you're looking at a months long journey to try to make something simple happen.
Yeah. Dude, we didn't create that. I can't solve that problem, but it can be managed, at least within reason and at least within risk, right? So stay tuned for a few minutes, because there's probably a couple things that we can do to help with that. And but I love it, and hopefully you're putting it out there. We're being real about what it takes, and there are some challenges, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, we've got an ECAT contract that's going really well.
Yeah.
So we work with the DLA already.
Good.
So that's the other challenge. Which
good.
That's such a small challenge. I wouldn't bring it up on here, but if you have both, it's like swimming and building a model. You can do one or the other, but if you try to do both at the same time, you'll fail and drown.
Yeah.
Dave, it looks like
Never heard that quite that way before, Rob.
Looks like you have some more questions, Dave, and it looks like
do.
you have someone with their hand raised.
And we do. I'm going to get to Ron in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and mute you, Rob. Thanks for the info. I do have a question, and because 2 polls in a row, gotta love that, right? What is one federal relationship worth? And there's a reason for this, and this kind of ties into a little bit for you, Rob. But you're pretty advanced in what you're doing. If you have ECAT, you're running, right? And we're going to get into, and I will get to Q&A in just a minute, but we're going to get into how the winnable opportunity matrix works, is building relationships with stakeholders, because I don't care what you're doing. If you're not being proactive, the chances are you're not going to be winning. And this will apply to you as well, Rob, as everybody else. So we have contracting officers, and that's where we're talking about relationships here. Is what is a relationship worth? And you have to reach out to contracting officers. You have program managers. This is all going through the winnable opportunity matrix right there. The program manager, the technical representative, and administrators, which are the higher level people. They may be political appointees, but usually they're the higher level bureaucrats dealing with all that red tape that Rob was just talking about. And each one of these folks have different roles, different methods for making decisions, and you have got to understand that and how they get their needs out there. And the objective is always to move you into the green. Because if they get to know you, then they'll get to buy from you. If you take a look at how this works, the bottom part favors the competition. Notice that you not knowing them is a red flag. And this is actually, to give credit where it's due, Miller Heiman has a process called strategic selling. And this is everything about the government world is strategic selling. I'm going to end this poll real quick so everybody can see this in case it's still popped up in front of everybody. And likewise, if you're in the green, they favor you. Shocking, right? So number one, you're kind of okay. You're working your way up the scale. You didn't embarrass yourself too bad about meeting up with them or talking with them. 2, they kind of like you, right? 3, they really like you. They like what you're doing. And then 4 is a coach. We all have experienced this, coaches. And then 5 is a champion. They're the people that are carrying that flag up the hill. And we know most folks aren't champions. Some of the folks will coach you and some of the folks will like you enough, but they're not really lucky enough to be able to give you insider information or something, right? And notice there is no middle ground. There is no zero, right? They either know who you are or they don't, or they like you a little bit, or they like the competition more than you. And that's what happens, right? Here's the first thing. As I mentioned, being unknown is not good, period. No matter how you look at it, you need to make sure that you're known. So I have another question. We're asking a lot of polls, but this is helpful for everybody. Let me see if this works. How do you want to reach buyers? Do you want to reach them fast with a mass marketing push? Do you want to reach them with a steady plan? Or do you want a complete strategy? And then you can choose as many of these as you want. And I'm going to walk through. We're going to take a quick break for a commercial on this new product that we have. So bear with me for just a minute and we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program, because we all want wins, right? Everybody wants wins. And everybody's telling you to go to sam.gov, right? That's fantastic, right? They post opportunities there. And, oh, by the way, what are your thoughts of sam.gov? You don't have to chat it in there. Just think it, and we already know what it is, right, Sally?
Yes, we know.
So that's why we built sam.bid. Sam.bid monitors GSA, sam.gov, sorry. It monitors sam.gov. You can do it by NAICS, by PSE, and by keywords. The smarter you do, the more you do this, the smarter it gets, so that this gets sent to you right away as soon as it lands, so that you can review it. You can decide whether you want to propose anything, and that's what gets you to a win, right? So opportunities land, you decide that you want to bid, and you make your proposal, whether you use Greg or not, you get to a place where you win. Congratulations, that's 2%. 2% of opportunities hit sam.gov. So love this. By the way, everybody should be doing it. It's $89 a month. That's easy. And that, again, gets you to your 2%. So now we need to take a look at the ones on the other side of this. So this is reactive. Anything that hits there is reactive, unless you help to generate it, which means you're doing something on the right side, which is the proactive piece. Now, here's some crazy information that you probably didn't know when you woke up this morning. 1 of 5 of contracts awarded that's 76% of them are only 5 competitors. So they're awarded to 1 of 5 companies. This is how it works. People actually buy from people they know, like, and trust. Sally, can you believe that?
I absolutely believe it.
And
that was profound, Dave. What you just said, I'm gonna put that on my mirror. People buy.
No, I invented that, right? So how do we develop trust? We develop trust with meaningful conversations. That means you meet somebody or you talk with somebody and you have a meaningful conversation so that they can you start to understand each other. That's how trust is, right? Mm-hmm. And how does this happen? It happens because you gain exposure. It happens because you engage. It happens because you exhibit your to them, right? It could be at an exhibition or some kind of some kind of a industry day, but most of the time you need to just exhibit the fact that you belong with a capability statement and you build yourself up as a subject matter expert. All of these things are what's necessary for you to be successful. And that's why we built the AMP system. It rides on top of SAM.bid and it monitors awards. And you might be saying, Dave, if you're monitoring awards, it's too freaking late. And that's exactly what my first client said to me. They said, great, thank you for telling me I'm a loser. I said, well, you've been a loser, you just didn't know it yet. So that's why we built the system, so that we could get to the other 98%. If we're not getting to the other 98%, we will lose.
So AMP amplifies your brand, your message, your solution, your company, and you.
Well, that's true. You're absolutely right. It gives you the ability to reach out to people. It's going to be $4.99 a month and not too long, but Christmas special for everybody is $2.49. It's half price. So the way that you get there is you go to sam.bid and click the get started. It's www.sam.bid. Click get started. You choose, you'll see the plans there, and you scroll down. The half price plan is $2.49, and you can sign up. You want to pick that one. That's the one that monitors both awards and opportunities, and it enables you to get in front of the next one. So when my client said, why would you want to monitor awards? I'm saying, this is what we learned back in 2008, before I even started ISI Federal. We learned that if we watch the awards, we will be able to see who's buying, we'll be able to see who's winning, and as a result, we can do something about it. So SAM.gov offers you opportunities delivered right to your email. Everything is done by email on purpose because you live in your email. You already don't like logging into SAM.gov because the dual authenticator, whatever you call that, authentication, right? Same thing with eBuy. We want to make sure that we're seeing things and we don't have to work at it. So it sends it right to your emails where you live. You're living in it every day. You watch for it, and you get 5 to 15 leads with the AMP system. Some could be 3 or 4 leads a day, just pinging you, saying, hey, you need to talk to this. What's that?
It's amazing. It's like the gift, the Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas gift that keeps on giving. It's amazing. How long is the special, the holiday special?
It's the holiday. Well, it'll run into January,
okay.
But we'll make sure it's that. But okay. You get proactive, get your buyer contact information, the email, and if we have it, the phone. It also gives you the awardee. So the person that actually won, if you want to sub to them or you want to partner with them, you have their contact information, a 12-month buyer report. So you can see all the history of all the rest of the shortlisted companies that they're involved in. It's very cool. So with that, we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program. So you can check that out if you want to. But the session handouts, make sure you grab the winnable opportunity matrix. We need to be building relationships with these folks. And I mentioned you can do it like the SAM.bid system. We built that so that you can do it bite-sized. You can do it on a daily basis or weekly basis. You can be reaching out to people. You have got to move these folks into the green. So let's talk about contracting officers, because if you're finding a contracting officer that's buying from your competition, pretty important, right? Pretty important. So you want to make sure that you're reaching out to these contracting officers, and you need to know how they think. So they're busy or think they are. They're not going to teach you about business. Are they, Greg Clark? Are they going to teach you how to do business with them?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. And they're risk averse. And this goes to how you respond to them and what you want to present to them. You want to present yourself as safe, so that you're giving them the ability to be able to buy from somebody that knows what they're doing. So you have to look like you know what you're doing. That's why you need your capability statement. You need to act like you know what you're doing. And that's the piece that they want. And guess what they want? They don't need to know how good of an architect you are or your data system, Rob. They don't need to know about all that stuff. They don't care about how good you are. They care about the other part that you were talking about, selecting the purchasing mechanism. Oh, is it going to be set aside for somebody? They're the ones that make that decision. They're experts in moving paper. Their job is to get that thing awarded. So when it comes to dental supplies, as you also, I can't remember who, I'm probably calling the wrong person, the wrong thing now that I'm thinking about it. But at the end of the day, you need to be educating them on your contract mechanism. ECAT, you mentioned, GSA contract, great. Blanket purchase agreement, awesome. All those things, IDIQ, MATOC, whatever other term you want for all those acronyms. They're the ones that determine how it's going to be awarded, and then with the fastest way to do it. So, what's your job?
Dave, we have 14 questions.
Okay, we'll get to it. I promise.
Okay.
So you have 77,000 active contracting officers. You need to figure out which ones buy what you sell. And it goes along like this. And you can find this information. This is information that we've assembled. This happens to be construction. GSA contract holders, $70 billion of the market. This isn't just through GSA, right, Greg? They can buy from GSA or they can buy from outside of GSA, right? But these are the companies.
Right. So agencies.
Yep. And these are 188 companies and so 409 companies altogether. 70 billion. That's real money. And to reiterate what I just said, 76% are shortlisted, which means you need to be one of the 5. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of this other than to say you need to reach the contracting officers who are buying from your competition. It's just that simple. So first thing is you got to know who they are, and we can help with that as well. I'm not going to even go through that part. Very difficult for them to buy from you if they don't know who you are. Would everybody agree with that?
Yes.
So our job and your mission, if you choose to accept it, is get on the buyer's radar and you can send them capabilities emails. Make sure that you have a subject line that's creative enough for them to open, and create a short message with 3 bullet points that says, hey, when you see this, when you see dental supplies, when you see construction, when you see data, a database, I can't even remember what you said about that. It was awesome because I have no idea what you're talking about. And then tell them that you're going to follow up, and you pick up the phone and you follow up. So your signature needs to contain the DUNS, cage code, your socioeconomic certs. I don't care whether you have any or not. Just whatever you do have, put it there. And then the contract vehicles that you have, if you have any. If you don't have any, that's okay. Still mark it, because at least you're going to start having those meaningful conversations, right? And attach your well done capability statement as a searchable PDF. So everybody got that? Yep. That is our lesson for today. I'm not even going to go in. I will go into this real quick. And I'll tell you that if you want to market to people, we do have contact reports. Another very short commercial. We do have contact reports that you can buy, activity in the past 12 months. You can streamline it to whatever you want it to. And if you want to, you can, I think we have another link that you can drop in here if you would like to purchase a report. They're $100 off for 250 folks. Usually that's a good place to start, but we also go very large. When we do our market intelligence, it gets a lot larger than that. And while we're asking this, I need professional help. I know I need professional help. It's just not the professional help that we have here. All right, let us know what you need. Marketing, preparing proposals, capability statement, getting on a GSA contract. All of this is in here, and you will be funneled to the right person. Let's get to some questions. Sally, what do we got?
Yes, lots of questions. Okay, let me just close this. So I'm going to start from, I'm scroll up. Are you going to send us these slides? Yes, we are. Can answer
yep.
that.
They should already be there. Audrey, if you can put that in the chat right now, so everybody can get that right this minute.
Yep. Very good question. Very important. How is SAM.bid and AMP similar or different from services like Deltek, GovWin, Tribal, all those?
Great question.
Go ahead, Dave.
Great question. So Deltek, awesome. They do an awesome job. They're looking at larger opportunities, and most of the things that they're doing is already public, right? And it's public for everybody there. right? So anybody that's on Deltek can see them. That's the one thing. The second thing is they're dealing with 500,000 and above, and especially stuff that's on a forecast or recompetes. Very good. If that's where you want to live is recompete contracts, that's a great place to go. So they're totally different. The SAM.gov looks at awards that happened yesterday so that you have the intersection between the buyer, the winner, and the award. So you have something to talk about. So it's really made to be a proactive tool and jump on something that's hot or something that was just awarded so that you can inject yourself into the conversation. And the objective there isn't necessarily, let's say you do office supplies. Fantastic. You may look at office supplies and furniture or anything else that looks like anybody that buys office supplies. Or if it's very specific, like dental, you can be looking at dental supplies as well and seeing all the how things are being awarded. Okay, what's next?
And Ron Beck, you've had your little hand up
yes.
in the chat for hours. Come and mute and ask your question, sir.
Go ahead, Ron.
Ron Beck in the house.
Ron Beck, you there?
Ron Beck's not ready. We're going to go to the next one. Anonymous attendee. How do you effectively market GSA and FSS? Should you try to be the lowest? Oh, we talked about that. The lowest price. Ron,
wait a minute. That's a good question. That's a great question. So one thing is your pricing structure, right? So the only way that you win on price is if you're lowest price on GSA Advantage. Right. But the rest of this has to do, and I think it was Ron or Rob that was talking earlier about small businesses winning, even if the price isn't the lowest, because they're proactively going out after they're going after that work. That's how that works, is you market to them, just like I said before.
That's wonderful.
All right. What else you got?
Another hand raised. We have Wayne Singley.
Wayne.
Come on in, unmute, and ask your question, sir.
There, Wayne?
Going. Okay, here we go. We have another one. Did we answer Heather Trenholm? In past performance report, I registered for the site. I tried to find out what the government is saying about it, but it doesn't allow us to see the report. It states that someone else in the government needs to sponsor action. How do I know where we stand? This is my second year in trying to do so. Past performance.
Hold on a second. Past performance report. Someone else. You're talking about your CPARs or past performance of somebody else? You're not allowed to see the past performance report of somebody else. You can see your own, but you can't see somebody else's. No.
Questions, Heather, feel free to ask again or reach out to us. We have Eric. We are a small directional boring contractor in Missouri, specializing in fiber optic installation and infrastructure needs. We would love to grow and bid on projects. We need to know where to get started.
Fantastic. First of all, you give me flashbacks and PTSD, because back in 2000, that's exactly what we did when I was working for Network Technologies Group here in Maryland. Directional boring is cool. I've seen anybody that's ever seen that work is very, very cool. You can go under streams, you can go under highways, even under roads, and not roads, I mean railroads. Very cool. You have to have a special license for that. Or special insurance for sure. So anyway, yes, the answer is doesn't matter what you do. I would definitely sign up for sam.bid and watch for awards. We can take a look in your location. I think that's available now, but you'll be able to see what's happening in your space. If not, we can run a report of people that are buying those types of services in your space. Where was that happening? Missouri?
Yeah, show me.
Right. So if it's just Missouri, that's kind of restrictive, and you're probably going to be doing it as a sub to a prime, but you can at least see who's winning those contracts. That's actually how I got involved in this world. If you want to set up a call, Eric, we can chat, because I know a little bit about your world than some folks.
Great. And to unmute, you just go to the mute button and click on unmute.
We gotta get him permission to unmute though.
Okay. So
all right, hold on. There we go. I'm allowing. Let's see, Ron. Ron Beck.
Hey.
There he is.
Come on in. Come in.
Sorry, I finally get a chance. Thanks, Dave, Sally, Greg, and Peter. We do something that's relatively unique and new to the market, offering technology perhaps best described as turning a bulletproof vest into a smart vest, immediately sending out a message to a bunch of text numbers if you're ever shot or stabbed.
It's very cool. We talked.
I know we talked.
Yeah, that's totally cool. Tell everybody what you do. It's mad cool what you do.
Yeah, we're trying to save lives and reduce injuries by getting people help they need. The first little panel is very thin and light. It sits on top of a bulletproof vest in a carrier. If it's ever shot or stabbed, it sends out a link with your position and updates that position every time you move 40 feet. So anybody shot or stabbed in the dark, anything like that, in a location they can't describe over the radio, somebody else can come find you real fast. But it's so unique. There aren't a lot of other manufacturers that we know of how we can program in the right space. Whoever got the awards for bulletproof vest and whoever buys it, we need to hone in on that market and upgrade their capabilities, adding this layer. So that's kind of more of a little niche we're trying to find. And we just added also earphone connection as a wonderful supplier and partner that connects all those types of radios, land mobile radios with mics and earpieces and all that stuff.
Very cool.
So Ron, is your question how to access those people?
Right. How do we find those people? How do we work on that? Is that a NAICS code sort? Is it an award sort?
Yeah, you really want to sign up for sam.bid. Just go to sam.bid, look at the AMP system. That's the first place to start. And then we'll be working with you on that exactly what you're looking for. Does that make sense?
Thank you so much, everybody.
You got it, man.
There's a comment in the chat. Ron,
love it.
Go ahead.
And then the other part of that, I'm going to pop in the unsolicited proposals thing that we're doing because there's a few seats left for that. I'm going to pop that in because that's another place, Ron, that very, very unique products go, right? That's how you get the word out for that. So cool. Very good. Who else? Who's next, Sally?
While he's popping that in, people are asking me about the chat. So all you do is click on the 3 little dots to the right of the smiley face, and then click on Save Chat, and then it'll go to a folder. And if not, we'll obviously send you the chat. So
yeah, we'll definitely get that to you.
Yeah, somebody was saying it's not allowing attendees to do that.
Oh, we got you. We'll send it to you. Yeah. John Sensor, your hand is raised, sir. I'm going to click Allow to talk.
I gotta send this to everybody. I'm sorry, I didn't send that to everybody. There you go.
Like,
unsolicited proposals go to everybody.
You're censoring John Sensor. John,
I'm here.
Come on in.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, John.
Sir, what's your question?
My question is about small business advisors. Every agency in the government has them. I've reached out to several of them. They're very pleasant. They talk to you. They make bland presentations and ultimately tell you nothing of value.
I love it. So, John, your question is, how do you bypass the small business specialists?
No, sir. Are they useful people or should they just be avoided?
No,
oh, man.
They're very useful people. All people are useful. And so they're very useful people in their own special way. And we can help you utilize and help them be even more useful by giving you some hints. Can't we, Dave?
So Sally's being very politically correct. I love your question, John. And the challenge that you have with small business specialists is that less than half of them have contract experience, much less in their own agency. That's the first part.
Oh.
And secondarily, none of them have any sales experience. So if what you're asking them to do is connect you to people, they don't have the wherewithal to do that. You have to help them do that. So Sally is absolutely right. They can be very useful.
One of the many problems. I do have to tell you, let me just add when it's useful. They do a lot of free presentations, things on Zoom, especially after COVID-19. So you can go into the presentations, and a lot of times they have speakers. I mean, I've met Rear Admiral Generals, I've met senior executives with FEMA, all of whom I connect with, and they will connect with you if you say, hey, I'm in your presentation, thanks for the valuable information. So they have things, and they have opportunities for you to connect with others who are important. So everyone adds value. You just have to figure out how to help them give you value.
That's it. It's the Jerry Maguire, help me help you, right? So the idea is, what can you give them? So getting back to like the buyer reports that we do, right? So if we look at the buyers and you say, talking about intelligence really. So if you look at the intelligence in the agencies and you see that this person is spending $5 million with these 15 companies or with similar to what you do, you take that to them as, I need to meet with John. I need to meet with Mary. I need to meet with these people because they're the ones that are responsible for the awards. So your problem is not unique, John.
Hey, Sally. That's awesome.
So there you have it. I'm hoping that helps a little bit. Does that help a little bit, John?
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
For your diplomatic answer.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So Harold, you there? Harold Hereford?
Yes.
Hey, who are you with, Harold? What do you do?
I'm with Innovative Solutions. We're an enterprise IT company,
Okay.
focused on big data and analytics.
There's no big data in the government, no future at all.
Well, we have a very unique product in that big data area, one with what's called no ETLs, no extract, transform, load process.
Wow.
Which is the most fragile part of any data analytics solution.
So
I put
what's your question?
I put into the chat why you can't copy, why we can't copy it out. So if you're doing that purposely, then fine. But if you didn't know about it, there's the instructions on how to fix that. We also happen to be Zoom experts.
Apparently you are.
We're hosting a conference with the Native American group for the Navajo, and that's the product we're using to do that.
Awesome. Well, that's very specific. I like it. There's two different avenues that, well, actually three. If you talk about a strategy that'll help you push that out to the market, you can use webinars. We do that with GovBrief where we push it out and set you up as a subject matter expert. You're not looking for the bazillions of people out there. You're looking for people that are the data experts that understand their pain point, right?
Exactly. I can tell you, like, there's one federal agency that has been working on a data warehouse for over 5 years. It has nothing to do with how smart they are. It has to do with the product that they selected to do it.
Yep.
We could be in and out of there in probably 10 weeks.
So there's the other way is so briefings we push out and we because we have a database of 1.2 million contacts in the federal space, and we pare that down to your IT type people. We don't know who's doing what because you can't see it. It's not like contracting officers that we can see the dollars. We push that out. So we might want to talk about that. The other part is a little bit longer play, but is going using a white paper and going to the CIO council, which then kind of formulates and helps you penetrate to get to the C-suite, as well as the senior program people that are responsible for data. Both of those we can help with. Make sure you let me know that we want to talk.
Okay.
If you want to talk about that, because that's very specific, but that's the kind of thing we do every day.
Well, thank you, Dave.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here, Harold. I love what you do. We're dealing with major issues with data. Big data is a big problem.
Well, just so you know, our largest client has over 70 billion records, and they're still getting sub-second queries back from the data.
Well, we know that's a big deal. And for everybody else who has no idea about that, they're in a coma right now talking about IT. It's a big deal.
So
all right, what else we got, Sally?
I'm not sure we answered. Are there any demand for background investigations for women and small businesses?
Background investigations, there's always room for background investigation.
I actually had someone last week who said, do you know someone who could do background investigations? And she's a small business, small minority owned 8A. So yes, there is.
So Ross is asking, how do we gain price discovery as to what pricing is being awarded? It doesn't come down to a line item on pricing in the federal space. There's other places you can see that in state and local. It doesn't post that way in federal. So you have to make some assumptions, judging by what they have available in GSA Advantage, if it's there. If it's not, you don't have line item price award data. It doesn't exist.
Anonymous attendee, do you believe GSA will have much work related to rule of law and governance development around the world, specifically sub-Saharan Africa? Greg?
For what kind of service?
Rule of law and governance dev around the world, specifically sub-Saharan Africa.
I have no idea.
Greg, any ideas?
I got no idea.
that is a very good question. And if we were playing Stump the Experts today, you would have won a brand new car.
Someone, and believe me, when we find them, that we'll reach out to you, anonymous attendee.
We will do that, but we need to know who you are if you want us to reach out.
That was a joke, Dave.
I got you.
Another anonymous attendee. How do you effectively mark GSA? We did that one. I think we're good. Slides. We're going to send them the slides. We got that. How do we gain price discovery as to what?
I already said that. You can't do it.
I think we're good. Everyone's saying thank you. They love you.
Hey, we appreciate it.
They love your hat.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. We have, let's see. I am a SRDOSB. Not sure what that is. But I'm sure somebody will tell me what that is. I'm not familiar with that one. So if you sign up to SAM.bid, do I get support from all of you? You get support from SAM.bid, but that's my team. My team handles SAM.bid. Okay, well, Glenn, we can certainly talk about that. All right, fantastic. Let's see. All right, so last thing, let's make sure we get back up on here, and we'll get you out of here, I promise. I appreciate the participation from everybody. We hope that you, come on, share the screen, for crying out loud. Dave doesn't want to go. There it is. I think we're up. All right, cool. So we know who needs professional help. At least I do. So you can find ISI Federal on YouTube and LinkedIn. You can reach out to Greg Clark and his fancy old picture with a brand new hat on it. Proposal writing, GSA schedule. There's his information right there. You can join us today, govbrief.us. That starts in less than an hour. We're going to be back on here, Greg.
Yep. I have an hour
Ralph,
to fix connectivity issues.
What's that? Yeah, you're going to reboot is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to reach out to whoever. I can't remember who was the expert. All right. So Raphael helps with the socioeconomic search as well as your GSA contract information. Sally White's an Uber connector, as you can tell. She Uber connectifies. So you can reach out to her with anything that you need. And also on the LinkedIn side and website stuff too, right, Sal?
Absolutely.
All right. Fantastic. And Peter Timbus, you talk too much, Peter, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Tired.
Peter was great today. Are you kidding me? He was awesome today.
He was great. Yeah, Peter's awesome. And there's a lot of folks that need what you do, Peter. So there you have it. So reach out, tfn@actioncapital.com is the email address. And our next session is January 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And everybody knows that because you're already here on Eastern time. And we'll be talking about disrupting the pattern. I love it, love it, love it. That's my favorite thing. With that, Merry Christmas if you're from the Christian persuasion. Happy holidays if you're from any other persuasion. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy Kwanzaa. Yes. Happy Hanukkah. Come on, Dave. Put your global hat on.
Enjoy your holidays.
That's right. Yeah, everybody. Enjoy the holidays. Take some time off. Relax. Enjoy the family as best you can. Even the ones you don't like.
Dave, before you cut us all off, people are asking for the link for the session in an hour for Greg Clark's beautiful session. So if you could pop.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on.
And I've saved the chat again, and so Audra and the Dave team or I can absolutely get you everything in the chat. There's some good stuff in there.
That is the one that's there, and I don't know if there's I know we're down to just a few seats. We are down to just a few seats.
I'll sell my seat.
What's that? You sell your seat?
I'm just kidding. Joking, Greg.
Yeah, that's right. You got the seat scalper for Greg Clark. That's fantastic. Love it. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully it was beneficial for everybody. We love meeting everybody. Great questions, great engagement. And we'll see you next month if we don't see you sooner, like in less than an hour. And you will, the copy of the video will go out as well. It'll take us a little while, probably later today, early tomorrow by the time that goes out. And then we'll have a final video that goes out for this. Wishing everybody a very, very happy holiday. So we're going to let you guys go. I got to jump on with Brian Hebel now. Good to see everybody.
Bye.